Welcome to Joseph's What If channel. The American Civil War paralyzed the global balance of power. In the autumn of 1862, the fighting across the Atlantic Ocean had dragged the major European empires into a severe diplomatic crisis. Great Britain was feeling the pain directly. The northern naval blockade of southern ports cut off the supply of raw cotton, devastating the British textile industry and leaving hundreds of thousands of mill workers unemployed and starving. Chancellor of the Exchequer William Gladstone looked at this economic ruin and concluded that Southern independence was inevitable. In his view, Jefferson Davis had successfully built a new nation, and Britain needed to formally recognize it. But Prime Minister Lord Palmerston hesitated. He refused to commit British diplomatic weight based on speculation. He told his cabinet that Britain must remain a mere looker-on until a decisive military event proved the South could actually win the war on the ground. By setting that specific condition, Palmerston attached a ticking clock to the American conflict. The next major battlefield victory would determine control of a state and simultaneously act as the trigger for a full-scale European intervention. In September 1862, Robert E. Lee marched his army of Northern Virginia across the Potomac River into Maryland. His men were exhausted. Thousands lacked shoes, their feet bleeding on the rocky roads, and they survived mostly on green corn scavenged from local fields. Historically, this invasion ended at the Battle of Antietam. It was the bloodiest single day in American military history, resulting in a brutal tactical stalemate that forced Lee to abandon his campaign and retreat back to Virginia. But what happens to the global balance of power if Lee's exhausted army holds their ground? What if, instead of a draw, the Confederates secure a definitive victory in Maryland? In this alternate timeline, the Confederate lines hold firm against the massive Union assaults. George McClellan's troops hurl themselves into the cornfield and the bloody lane, only to be utterly repulsed with devastating casualties. On the southern end of the battlefield, Union General Ambrose Burnside fails to push his men across these stone arches. The Confederate right flank remains entirely secure, leaving the Union Army battered and out of maneuvers. Beaten and demoralized, the Union Army breaks off the engagement. With heavy losses and no fresh reserves willing to press the attack, McClellan orders a full retreat back toward the fortified defenses of Washington, D.C. By falling back, the Union Army removes the physical military barrier standing between Robert E. Lee's victorious forces and the northern capital. In Washington, the military collapse translates directly into a political disaster for President Abraham Lincoln. His cabinet is in a state of panic as enemy troops threaten the city limits. This handwritten manuscript is the Emancipation Proclamation. Lincoln drafted it over the summer, waiting for a victory. Issuing it after a crushing defeat would look powerless. The British cabinet would interpret this document as a desperate attempt to incite a slave rebellion. Because Lincoln is forced to keep the proclamation locked in his desk, the global stakes of the conflict remain frozen. The Civil War is still viewed strictly as a territorial dispute over borders, entirely stripping the Union of the moral shield that would have kept foreign empires out. Word of the complete Union collapse in Maryland travels quickly across the Atlantic. In early October, the news hits the desks of the British cabinet in London. The Confederate Army had routed the Union on northern soil and cornered Lincoln in his own capital. Palmerston's strict prerequisite for action is met. The sheer scale of the Confederate victory permanently silences the remaining anti-interventionists in Parliament. Men like Secretary of War George Cornwall Lewis, who had urged caution and neutrality, can no longer argue that the South is doomed to lose. William Gladstone's assertion that the South is a viable, independent nation instantly becomes the consensus. Formal recognition of the Confederacy is now official British policy. Acting on this consensus, Britain and France draft an immediate diplomatic offer of mediation. They present terms to Washington that demand a 6-month armistice, a pause in fighting heavily biased towards securing permanent Southern independence. If Lincoln refuses this mediation, the geopolitical mechanism executes automatically. European powers formally recognize the Confederacy, and the Royal Navy forcibly breaks the Union blockade, flooding Southern ports with the weapons and supplies they need to win the war. Returning to the real historical timeline, the extreme bloodshed and tactical blunders of September 17, 1862, served a massive geopolitical purpose. The draw at Antietam saved the Union. Forcing Lee back across the Potomac River achieved two things simultaneously. It cleared Maryland of Confederate troops, and it permanently slammed the door on British intervention, securing the diplomatic fate of the United States. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into historical what-ifs, make sure to subscribe to Joseph's What If channel for more.